couch to wherever you are. We're not trying to offend anybody. This is table talk. So let's talk about it. Where you at? It's all about the church trauma. When it comes to church, a lot of people know it's important to go. We know that this is the place. I'm trying to be careful with my words. This is the place where we have safety, protection. We learn about God. This is supposed to be the place to be. But there are a lot of reasons why people choose not to come, or they choose not to ever even go. Because there's people that haven't even been to church because of this topic. So everyone's experience is different, but not all have the same outcome. But the common factor as to why people stop coming is this word called trauma. So today there's not going to be any scriptures. There's not going to be a table talk rewind, no full circle, no quote. We got the question, but as my dad will say, we give you straight P, no mix. So, are y'all ready? No, seriously. Are y'all ready? So, grab your coffee, grab your water, grab your juice, your Gatorade, your Mountain Dew, any energy drink, whatever it is you need to wake you up this morning. Come on, y'all. Let's table talk. So, we all go to church for the same reason, to grow in our understanding of who God is in our lives and to support others the way God wants us to. I said that for a reason. We talked about support for the last 2 weeks. The purpose of us going to church is supporting one another, and I'm just going to leave it there. Yes, we get a word, but that word should be a confirmation, but that's coming in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that. So right now, our main focus is that we are to come to church to support one another. Real quick, how do we support one another? That word that you get during the week isn't necessarily just for you, it's for someone else. So that word you have has the ability to help someone else. But when you go to church and that word that's in you confirmed and you share it with someone else, that's just a confirmation that you are on the right path with your leadership. So, but here's the bad thing. We all don't come out on the other side of that church door with the same results. So in this series, we're going to be talking about trauma that people deal with, where it comes from, and how to overcome it, and who's doing the trauma also. Like I said, in 2015, I sugarcoated the mess out of this. Like, I was legitimately scared to really talk about it. It was more so focusing on Jesus. That's what it was. I was focusing more on Jesus, but not even really talking about what this trauma is. So this time we're going to dig deeper. We're going to talk about what causes trauma in the church. But like I said, before we can understand that, I want to talk about what trauma is. So I just said all that. Let's go to a commercial break real quick. This part of the show, and I'm going to blame them again this week. This part of the show is brought to you by Next Generation Child Care Services. So what's to come next? It's because of them. We'll be right back. Again, I want to thank Next Generation for being a proud sponsor here on Table Talk. So I see a couple of more people have popped in. Okay, what's going on, Tommy? I see you. You woke up this morning. Okay, okay. Oh my god, this is my good. Well, she's like a sister. This is my cousin from Atlanta, Michelle. Good morning. Glad to see you on here. Gina. Oh my goodness, Gina got up this morning. I'm feeling really special this morning. Good morning, Gina. She probably be like, dude, don't be putting me out there like that. All right, let's get into this. Trauma. Now we're gonna kind of walk through this because I want us to really get to understand what trauma is. So trauma is defined as an experience that produces a physical injury or pain. I mean, a psychological. I'm sorry. Trauma is an experience that produces a psychological injury or pain. This is an experience that happened that is not supposed to be associated with Christ, the church, or God, but it is. And even myself to a point wasn't willing to talk about this. And this is something that we hear this word a whole lot, church hurt, but we changing it to church trauma because, and I know I'm skipping, but this is why we moved it from hurt to trauma. With the word hurt, it's defined as a physical pain, where trauma is mental. Now, I'm pretty sure we've seen some physical altercations in church. I ain't seen a knife get pulled out. I ain't seen hair fly. I ain't seen rumbling, wrestling. I've even seen many WWE Royal Rumble. We've seen these experiences physically, but even with the physical issues that go in the church, it starts somewhere. It starts mentally. So this is not a church hurt, like I was saying, but this is a church trauma because it attacks our mind and it comes from the church. Excuse me. So, and let's get this straight. When I say the church, I'm talking about the people because you can't separate the two. The church is the people. We're going to get into this. Okay. So, church trauma is defined as this. And if I didn't say this, I didn't say it. Now would be a good time to get a pen, some paper, because I'm giving y'all straight notes. Like, and y'all can write this down and we're going to try to walk through this. But church trauma is the response to any event we find threatening or harming mentally. Anything that we find threatening or harming to our mental, I would say spiritual, but it's all spiritually or mentally. But we notice the mental before we notice the spiritual. So we just stick it with mentally. Mentally, anything that just don't seem right to us or rubs us the wrong way, it's a church trauma. Now, a traumatized person can feel a range of emotions, both immediate, which is like right after the event, or it can even be a long-term situation where you can feel it for an extensive period of time, or you don't really notice it right at first, but after it happens to you a couple of more times, and that's one thing when it comes to trauma is something that continues to happen. So when you experience it and for a period of time, then you notice it, that's still characterized as trauma. They may feel, when you've been traumatized, you may feel like overwhelmed, helpless, shocked, or you may not even know how to process the experience. And here's the issue I have with that. When we don't know how to process something and we go to someone else and they pretty much tell us to sweep it under the rug, that causes a whole nother trauma because they're not validating your mental, your feelings. They're not validating anything. They're so concerned about protecting the image of the church that your image, the God in you, is a non-factor. I just said something. Yeah, so a lot of times because of this, we cannot process this. And that's what keeps us in the situation of trauma for a long period of time. Because a lot of people, when you get traumatized, you don't leave the situation right away. You stay in it sometimes. So, what causes us to stay in stuff in a long time when it comes to trauma? We'll talk about that right after this break.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
So again, I know that message came up real fast. So if you would like to get a copy of a Table Talk devotional, inbox us at this tabletalk0127@gmail.com. If you would like your own copy of a Table Talk devotional, write that down. So back to business. How do we stay into these traumatic events? Why do we stay in these traumatic events for so long? Here we go. I like to call it unhealthy traditions, or even more specific, unhealthy church traditions. Here we go. I've been waiting for this all week. Now, here's the thing with tradition. I hear a lot of people trying to cover up bad tradition with good traditions. So let's talk about this. All tradition is not bad. Marcus, you ready? Here we go. I hope you're ready. Let's look at, and you know where I'm going to have a conversation with him. Let's look at video games. Who all remember Super Mario Brothers? So with Super Mario Brothers, back when it first came out, it was about Mario and his brother finding the princess, saving her, and living happily ever after. To sum it up real quick. Now, here's my question. That's the tradition of Mario. What would happen if I came to you with the same looking video game in today's time with the way video games look today? You're going to look like, I don't want to play this crap. It ain't evolved in no way. See, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with tradition that evolves. But if you stuck in that same traditional, if you still playing the first Mario, you ain't helping nobody. Here's another one, Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic's but I don't even know what his purpose was. He had the rings. You get the rings, and you fight King Koopa, I think. And you got to defeat him and save everybody. Now, if Sonic the Hedgehog, he even got a movie. Now, if that's and then, oh, that's a good revelation. And when they first came out with the preview, Sonic looked horrible. I mean, he looked so horrible. All of the fans of Sonic, like, straight dogged the people who made it. They dogged them so bad to the fact that they had to go back and redo Sonic and make him look age appropriate. And when I'm talking about age, I'm talking about this time. That is so good. Tradition is not for this time right now because we're still stuck on the first Mario. This is what I mean. There's a couple of, I gotta find them. Yep, there go number one. There are a couple unhealthy traditions that we still partake in, which makes us, and I'm talking about the church, it still makes us still stuck on the first Mario. We still on Mario Brothers 1. Yeah, no upgrade to the music, no nothing. We're still stuck with the blocky graphics. This is what I mean. We see the church as a building and not the people. That is an unhealthy. That is unhealthy tradition. Why? We're more focused on paying the gas, paying the lights, paying or the setup, or we're more focused on the building than the people. We ain't worried about if the lights on and the people. We're not worried about if they got enough gas or word in them to get them going. We're not worried about the maintenance of the people. We're more focused on the building than the people. So, and even in this time right now with this pandemic, this is the most awesome thing God could have did was shutting down the church. Why? Because it moved us from the building, worrying about the maintenance, to actually teaching and worrying about the people. That was the greatest revelation I ever got. Even the best thing out of this whole situation is now we're forced to deal with the people. Here's the sad commentary. You still got people that is so concerned about getting into the building, they're not worried about even getting into the people. You heard that? My wife's like, yeah, that was fresh right there. Because I tell her everything. We're not even worried still. Not everyone. But people are still, when I'm going to get back into church. We got to get this church back open. We got to go. We're even more worried about the church that we're opening up these churches too soon and getting people sick, and people are still dying in the church because God told me that we need to open the building back up. What foolishness is that? Because now you got people dying, literally. I ain't even talking about spiritually. We talk about literally dying because you want to open up a building. And you got methods like this, social media, where you can reach more, you can do more, but you're so concerned about the building that you just don't care about the people. I'm sorry, that was a tangent. I deserve that one though. I should be good with that one. So, number 2, we make church service something that we endure rather than something that we enjoy. If there's some pastors out here, don't be mad at me. I know my dad ain't gonna be mad at me. So check this out. Church is too much like a job. Church ain't even a job that we're told that we're supposed to get into a career that we enjoy. If I could get 5 honest people on here and say, I actually go to church because I enjoy it. I know some of y'all are, but there was times that I did not go to church and I enjoyed it. Because it was a job, because I had so many things I had to do. I couldn't even enjoy the word. I couldn't even enjoy fellowship because I was too busy working. And I had to endure it instead of enjoying it. If I could get 2 people to be honest with me, don't leave me out here by myself, y'all. I know I am not the only one that feels like church is a job. Oh, man, I'm going to get in trouble. I don't care. I don't. I want to see these comments. Hold on. Facts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Pastor Dana, she got the hands up. I'm hoping that oh, see, there my sister go. I'm in somebody's house. They coming in. Okay, I just had to take a look and see, make sure everybody see church is a job. Where church is something that you should enjoy. One of the greatest things our ministry did was when we took the fellowship and we will stop service. I was talking to someone. We will stop service. Reviving Faith Movement. We will stop our service in the middle, and we will fellowship. It gave us the time to talk, eat, all that stuff. I told a preacher friend this just yesterday, 2 days ago, and he was like, "Don't that mess up the flow of the service?" I'm like, "Actually, it enhances it." We come back. We wasn't sleepy. We weren't tired. We were energized. It took the It took the tradition out of ministry. That's what it did. Because it was unorthodox. You can't tell me, name somebody else who stopped their service and had fellowship. Name one ministry that did it besides, and I'm bragging right now, the Reviving Faith Movement. You ain't going to be able to tell one. Okay, let's keep going. Where we at? Okay. Number 3. Focusing on our outward appearance rather than the inward state of our heart. Yeah, I just scratched my nose, Marcus. Leave me alone. So, it's about how you dress, but not what's in your heart. I'm more concerned about, are you looking the part rather than being the part? Women, I mean, to a certain degree, I understand, because we don't need no apple bottoms. We don't need no Fashion Novas. We don't need those things distracting us. I'm just saying, man with the tight shirts, and my shirt is not tight right now, just so y'all see. But I'm just saying, does that really matter? More than what's in someone. Because here's the thing. We dress how we feel. There was a time that I used to come to church because of all that stuff, because of church was a job. I used to come to church in sweatpants and a t-shirt because that's how I felt. They weren't worried about how I was feeling. It was more so how I was looking. Okay, I gotta keep this moving. Number 4, reducing discipleship down to more head knowledge. So, how deep are you? If your discipleship is based more on how deep you are than anything else, the more you know, the deeper you are. So that means, how many times have you read the Bible from front to back? How many times or how many scriptures do you know? Which leads into our next one. Making belief in the Bible a prerequisite of salvation. So it's how much you know and how much of it you believe. And that's how you get into heaven. No, how we treat one another is how we get into heaven. You can know all the Bible you want, but still have a misunderstanding. And there's a lot of people who think they know the Bible that really don't know the Bible. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Number 6, choose, and this is the last one. Choosing to reject culture rather than redeem it. That's a big one. That's a big one. And I was going to say sugarcoat it, but we throw the scripture on it. We are not to be of the world. We should not be conformed to the world, but ye be transformed by the renewing of your mind, showing ourselves good and acceptable unto God. So, I think that's Romans 12. I threw a scripture in there. Okay. That word world means age. So it doesn't necessarily mean, see, now we're not supposed to be of this age of what's going on right now. But here's the sad thing. The church is acting like the world. How? The world has a selfish mentality, and so does the world. Because if a person's inflicting trauma to another person, it's for a selfish reason. We're not supposed to be of the world. We are not supposed to be selfish. We're supposed to support. So we understand support means holding up. If we're not holding up one another, if we're not deeming others better than ourselves, we are the world. Now, we like to tell people that it's what's separating us from the world is we're not watching the movies that they watch. We're not listening to the music that they listen to. We're not drinking anymore. We're not smoking anymore. That has nothing to do with nothing. But we are to show that we're different, how we treat one another and them. So if we can't support, and y'all ain't gonna like me, if y'all have not shared this broadcast ever in life, you're acting like the world. I'm on one this morning because this is all dealing with church trauma. If you're only thinking, and here's the sad thing about Facebook. I hope Facebook don't kick me off. You have a whole bunch of people on here trying to be heard and not support. So we got a whole bunch of people on here on Facebook doing the same thing, being the world, being of this age, being selfish, but people ain't really supporting one another. Because if I support you, it ain't gonna benefit me. Selfish. And I'm not gonna pull my sister Nancy today. I'm not gonna say, but it's okay. But you wanna know something? I am gonna say it. It's okay. If you choose not to support anyone but your own self, it's okay. You're the one that has to deal with being of the world and not being like Christ. Because there was not one moment where you can show me where God does not support anyone else. So if we really want to be not of this world, it has nothing to do with what you drink. It has nothing to do with what you smoke. It has nothing to do with what you watch on TV, the movies you watch, the music. It has nothing to do with any of that. What it has to do with how you support, how you love, how you agape somebody else. Man, I'm on one this morning. I'm sorry. And I've had some traumatic experiences, as you see. That's why I'm kind of passionate right now. I'm not snapping at y'all. I love y'all. I agape y'all. I support y'all. Love you. Next one. Where we at? I'm just going to go off my nose because I'm running out of time. So there are different type of traumas that we have to deal with real quick. The first one we're going to talk about is acute trauma. Now, this results from a single stressful event, something that happens to you in the church, that one good time that messes you up for the rest of your life. Okay, so that's the first one. The next one, a chronic trauma. Now, this is a repeated or prolonged exposure to high stressful events. These high stressful events is the church, the people in the church that continues to do the same thing over and over to people. And you think, if I get away from this church and go to another one, I may be safe. But you go to the next one and they're doing the same thing that the other one's doing. Chronic trauma. Third one, complex. Being exposed to many trauma events. Same thing is kind of like with the other one. It's just something that continuously happens. And that's the issue with church trauma. Church trauma is not necessarily always a one-time event. This is something that continues to happen. It don't even matter where you go, because it's not the building per se, but the people on the church. So everywhere you go, you get a trauma. You get hurt by someone. It's even sad that people say, I get treated better on the streets because I know that devil. You supposed to hurt me. But the people in the church, are y'all that doggone selfish? Are y'all that self-centered? And here's the thing. When it comes to trauma comes when someone feels threatened. And I'm skipping to another devotion, but we're going to get back to this. But I got to say this real quick. When someone feels threatened and they decide to discredit or dismember your character. It's a mechanism to a threat. That's what trauma is. Or that's where trauma comes from. A mechanism from a threat. So, and here's another one, and I'm almost done. Because y'all know I gotta get to my next show, Movement Underground, coming on right after this on the Dr. Tony Whitley Jr. page. But here's the last trauma I want to talk about: secondary trauma. And this is the worst trauma because this is the worst trauma of all because it affects other people. This trauma is a symptom of close contact with someone who has experienced a trauma event. Do you not know that if someone is affected and someone close to them sees it, it affects them also. So they're traumatized by association. And it's regular because there is so much trauma going on out here that we're damaging innocent bystanders. Man, I'm just gonna say this. If y'all taking this, y'all taking it. If y'all getting offended, maybe you need to be offended because that means we're probably doing it. Matter of fact, put in the comments. Tell me, have you ever been church trauma? Put it in the comments. So, for the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at different forms of trauma, how it affects us, and how to overcome it. We got to stop sugarcoating this, y'all. We got to stop saying it's not this, it's not that, it's not that serious, it ain't that deep, you should be over it. We got to stop saying all this stuff, but we need to start dealing with the issue, and the issue is us. We have to stop sugarcoating, and we have to learn how to protect ourselves from this. So, doing video announcements, and we will be right back after this with my final thoughts.
Here are your video announcements for the movement community. Join Pastor Dr. Tony Willie Jr. on his Facebook page for the Movement Underground 9.0, Sundays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Join Pastor Dana Kelly for My Morning Worship, Monday through Fridays at 8 a.m. Let's go back to the beginning with Table Talk Origins, pre-recorded every Monday at 10 a.m. Join Deron Nathaniel for Kingdom Meditations every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let Us Pray with Minister Sheila Walker every Thursday at 7 p.m. This is a private page, so ask to join. The Phenomenal Woman to Woman Tea Time group with Talicia James. This is a private group, so ask to join. Table Talk Prime Time with Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence, reacting to everything entertainment every Thursday at 7 p.m. Join the men of Table Talk Sound Off every second and fourth Saturdays at 9 a.m. Join the women of Table Talk Uncut every first and third Saturdays at 9 a.m. Join me every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. for Table Talk. And if you would like to donate, you can do so at Cash App with Table Talk 20.
This what you talking about?
Yeah, I was responding to Bobby.
So y'all leave me alone. Have you ever experienced church trauma? Okay, they talk about how I was saying it, but real quick, Pastor Dana said something. This. Let me take this banner off. Hold on. Bear with me for a second, y'all. That's why our kids and spouses won't come to Jesus. That's deep. Now, before we end, I want to let you know, this isn't just something that I decided to do. I actually researched this. So the next couple of weeks, next week, well, let me do it this way. My final thoughts is, we worried about the wrong stuff, y'all. We worried about the building more than the people. We're worried about getting back into a church rather getting Jesus into people. So my final thoughts is, we worried about the wrong thing. So I gotta wrap this up, y'all. Bring it in. Do y'all still love me? Y'all still love me? Bring it in. Throw some hearts, throw some likes. Tap the care button. And if this has touched and agreed with you in any way, please like, share this page, hit the subscribe button. Everything that I asked y'all to do the week before that, just support. Stay up to date with Table Talk because we got a lot of good content. Did y'all know that Table Talk has some of the most unique content on social media? If y'all agree with that, type some hearts in there also. And join us next week as we will be talking about, I ain't got a title for it, but we talking about church as a cult. Ooh, the church cult. So I got to get out of here, y'all. Remember, all I can do is walk you to the door. The rest is up to you. I will see y'all next week. I'm your host, Mr. Table Talk. I love y'all. Appreciate you. And we will see you next week.